involved with Henry Ruggs killing somebody in his DUI. You know, he's a 22-year-old kid, and people at that age make mistakes.
Yeah.
I know for myself at that age, there are probably a few times that I should not have gotten behind the wheel and driven. And
yes,
did.
Corey. Me too. Let's talk about the Raiders. They released Henry Ruggs and Damon Arnett, both two different situations, but both are two of their 2020 first-round picks. Maybe that's why the Rams trade them. Never mind. Let me stop. Gruden's racist drama. Of course, he's racist. The team president resigned. Also, some other head people resigned. And we're gonna start off with Craig. You know, guys, when we ask Craig questions, it's always his favorite teams and topics. So you have to just get ready. He's a Carolina Panthers fan. He doesn't like that. Well, I think he likes the Raiders. I just don't think he likes Gruden, but Gruden's not there.
Gruden's gone.
Yeah. So, Craig, the Raiders are 5-3 right now. With all this going on, what record do you see them finishing up with to end the season?
That's tough. I would have to look at this. Let me look at the schedule for a second. I haven't really checked it out, but the Raiders, I mean, they're seemingly going down. We all thought, at least, we all thought the last time we did like predictions of who's going to go to the playoffs and all this stuff, that the Raiders weren't going to make the playoffs. I don't think none of us picked the Raiders, even though they were 5-2 at the time or something like that, to make it. So I think they're going to lose to Dallas. I think they're going to lose to okay, you know what? 5-1. Give me 7 and 10. You know what? I'm just going with that. Tough games on the schedule. Cleveland, Kansas City, Dallas, Indianapolis, the Chargers. I mean, maybe they'll beat the Chargers late because the Chargers they might not need that game, so they might rest some starters or something like that, depending on if they're trying to get home field. Denver's in there as well. Like, you can't count out tough division games. So, and Denver just beat Dallas. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to find maybe the Washington game, maybe the Cincinnati game, the way they're starting to slide. That's 2 more wins. That's 7. Bam, I'm done. 7 and 10. Not anymore, man. It's tough. This team is just going down. And I guess right now they have an out because they can see the coach distraction, Henry Ruggs distraction, Arnett distraction, president's leaving. You got a little bit of a out here, so you can make a little bit of excuse and say the reason why this happens because we don't have X, Y, and Z anymore. So, but it's only going to get tougher from here. Like, they still have to play the Chiefs twice, I believe. So, I can probably see, like I said, I can see 2 more wins, maybe 3 at the most. But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They started out hot, and I think they're going to fizzle out. And it's just, I mean, maybe if they didn't go through this crazy, all this stuff, all this drama that happened, maybe they would find a way to win some of these games. But that loss last week to Giants, that was rough, and I think they needed that win because their schedule looking forward is going to be tough. And I just don't see, but maybe 2, 3 at the most more wins for this team. It's just too much going on in the schedules too. It's just too much for them. So,
all right, Mo, Raiders, man. All that drama, man. They got a lot of drama going on. They're 5-3. What they finishing?
Man, I think they 7 to 10. They 7 to 10, 8 and 9 at the best. At the best, 8 and 9. I might say 7. Look at this schedule. It's brutal, especially dealing with what you're dealing with. That can be a drain on the team because what you realize is the daily grind of NFL season, and then dealing with your family life, and then constantly now having mics put in your face, having to ask about Henry Ruggs, you're asked about this, you're asked about Gruden, you're asked about this. I think it could just be too much on the team to just go through your daily struggles. So I can see 2 wins out of this. Maybe that Denver game being a toss-up of a third one. But I don't see them beating Kansas City, neither one of those games. I don't see them beating the Chargers. Colts are getting better and better by the week. I don't see them beating the Colts. Honestly, what they're doing right now, what they're going through right now, when you let the Giants just walk up on you like that, I don't know. So I'm gonna say at best 8-9, but I think it's gonna be 7, and I think it's gonna be 7-10. I think they only get 2 more wins of the rest of the season.
Corey, you agree?
Yeah. I will say when it comes to the Raiders and all of this going on right now, it is a little hard to focus purely on the football side of things after the human tragedy involved with Henry Ruggs killing somebody in his DUI. You know, he's a 22-year-old kid, and people at that age make mistakes.
Yeah.
I know for myself at that age, there are probably a few times that I should not have gotten behind the wheel and driven. And
Yes,
did.
Corey. Me too.
Fortunately, we got really lucky and nothing came of it. Unfortunately, his mistake led to the loss of life, and now he's likely to lose a good portion of his life to prison.
Yeah.
Last I heard, he was facing potentially 40 years for all the charges that are coming his way. Hopefully, the high profileness of this whole situation will maybe allow him to be a cautionary tale to young kids, and some kind of good can come from it all. But we'll see. For the Raiders, it's just the latest issue. As we've talked about Gruden before and how he had to go. Before all of that, we already talked about how Gruden probably should have gone because of his performance as a coach and a draft evaluator. Just look at that 2020 class with Ruggs. They had 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. 1 guy is left on that roster of those 5 picks. That is insane. That was 2 years ago. And the year before that, they completely whiffed on the number 4 pick in the draft. As I mentioned last time we were here, the Raiders back into that schedule is not easy. I'm with you guys. I think 8-9 is probably a best case scenario for them. I will say that they do play enough of the potential AFC playoff teams that if they get into the playoffs, it'll be because they played their way in. But you just got to wonder if that loss to the Giants isn't a kind of sign of struggles to come for them, as both I just think a general lack of talent on that roster and the weight of everything else going on just kind of starts to catch up with them. And at this point, who would blame them if the wheels did fall off on this season? I know I wouldn't. And with all of this, don't even forget that just before the season started, the ownership is potentially facing a tax evasion investigation too.
Man, those NFL owners be facing charges, don't they? They should be getting slapped on the wrist.
Yeah, well, you're a billionaire.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So, man. Yes, I agree with all of you. Especially with Ruggs, man. That's sad. It's 22, man. It sucks. Because I know I've made some crazy mistakes at 22. Fortunate enough, I'm here. And then you talking about Arnett, that was just crazy. You have to understand, like, this isn't, it's funny, like, people that are young forget that they grew up in an age where, when I mean young, I mean, like, what was Arnett, 26, 27?
Something like that.
Maybe younger?
I think younger.
Right? 23, 24. They grew up in an age of camera phones and everything is recorded, but they stay getting recorded and they don't care. And it's like, well, I grew up in an age where I had cell phones didn't have cameras, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get a Nokia or a BlackBerry, like the internet was just being founded when I was around that age, but not to, put myself out there, but if somebody our age is like, oh man, the cameras are around, I could get it. I get it. Cause it's like, I didn't grow up, but like you grew up with it. You should know everything's being recorded, And then the draft picks. Now, the funny thing, Corey, you brought this up about Gruden. They said Mike Mayock is still going to have a job because Gruden, those were Gruden picks, not his. That's what it said. So we don't even know how Mayock would be because those weren't his picks.
Yeah.
So, you got to give him another shot, and that has to suck when you're a draft evaluator and the picks you made aren't according to what Gruden did. Right, the picks that you might have had in your mind aren't on the core with Gruden, but you have to say, yes, that's a good pick.
Yeah, you got to go defend them.
You got to go defend them. So I do want to see what picks they make now going forward, and hopefully Mayock is a real GM. I would like to see. I like structure like that. I like checks and balances. I understand coaches got the final say, but those are great coaches. But I kind of like the Mike Tomlin and the Pete Carroll, like, just let me go coach. I have a GM for the final say of everything, right? Same with Green Bay, like, hey, LaFleur's like, I just want to coach players. That's the GM. That's the front office. I like the separation of that because, it's easy to focus on one job. So I don't know, man. Craig said it. They're 5-3. So their schedule is they have the Chiefs, right? That's probably a loss. They have the Bengals. They could win that game. They could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. So now they are 6-4. Raiders and Cowboys. That's a loss. They're 6-5. Washington football team and Raiders. That's a win, guys. Let's not get ourselves. Right. So what are we at? 7-5. Then it gets brutal. Kansas City's definitely in the playoff hunt at this point. This is a must win for them. Every game from now on is a must win. So they lose that one. The Browns are a must win. They're going to lose that one. The Broncos are going to be in the must win mode. They're going to lose that one. The Colts are going to be in must win to get the playoffs. They're going to lose that one. The Chargers are going to be in. Now, see, the Chargers, listen, Craig, you might be right. The Chargers might be like, look, I think Tampa Bay did it last year. Like, we're going to get the 4th seed, right? We did win the division. We're going to get the 5th seed. We're going to play week 1. We might as well rest our starters. So they could win that game. They could. But if the Chargers, from my indications, that might be a must-win game the way they're playing. I don't think they're going to be sitting back too comfortable. So I
mean,
think
the Chargers could be competing for the bye at that point too.
Yeah, you're right. The Chargers could be competing for the bye. So it just I could see them winning 2 more games because it gets brutal after the Chiefs. They might beat the Bengals, but then it gets really tough. Besides the Washington football team, all the other teams are playing for playoff spots. So, I could see them winning 2 more games. But none of us had them going to the playoffs. And people did. Oh, so many people did. Oh, man. I want to call them out. Who said they was going to do good? Let's see. Rob Parker from The Odd Couple. I'm shouting you out. You said the Raiders were going to be good. Who else? Did Nick? No, Nick Wright didn't say it. Nick Wright never did. I wonder if Colin Hurd said it. But it was a couple people that were like, oh, man, I think the Raiders, this is their year. And okay. All right,
Prisoners of the moment.
Prisoners of the moment. So, so hopefully they'll be all right. All right.